In this video, I'm going to show you some different ways to make adjustments. So if you go to images, there is an entire menu of different adjustment sliders that you can use. And there's so many here that I haven't even used them all. Most of them are not relevant to my immediate work, but I recommend that you try them out and see what they do, because you might find them useful for what you're doing. The ones I use the most tend to be the levels, hue saturation, and color balance. But you might find something else that you really love in here, so explore. The levels, first of all, make sure you're on a layer that isn't empty. So I'm gonna go to my background layer that actually has this image on it, and then image, adjustment, and levels. You'll get this panel, and here are some different sliders. And if I slide this little black arrow here, it's gonna make my darkest darks darker, or start moving everything towards that darkest dark. If I move my little white arrow, it will crank up all the highlights. Let's show you what that highlight looks like individually. So it makes all my highlights even brighter. You can really blow it out if you go too far. And the middle slider adjusts where the middle grays are. So I find these all really useful. I use them quite regularly. You can also put in specific numbers here to help you out. And in the lower one, lower slider, you can make it so your darkest black is not so dark, or your lightest light is not so light. Now, one other option that I find works quite well a lot of the time is the auto button, which will automatically make a selection based on an algorithm that should make your image look pretty good. It doesn't always work, but a lot of times you'll get a really nice looking adjustment of your levels by using it. Now, I've already done this previously to this image, so I'm not going to do it here. The command key for the levels tool is Command L, or the auto levels is Command Shift L. So I memorize those and I use them all the time, especially when I'm processing a lot of images. Another one, as I said, is the hue saturation slider. And you can adjust hue, saturation, and lightness. And as you can see here, I can adjust the overall hues in here. And I love doing this when I'm trying to figure out what colors I want to put in a painting. I might take some samples and just adjust them in here and see what kind of color harmony is most appealing to me. Just so you know, when it's at 0, you're at your original image. And when you go all the way over to the one side, it's at 180 degrees, which is going to be the complementary colors, the inverse opposite colors of your original. Then we have saturation, which we can crank up or lower the saturation until it's totally neutralized. And we have lightness, which of course will adjust the value of everything. The last one I tend to use regularly is the color balance, which allow you to adjust via cyan, magenta, or yellow, or red, green, and blue, which, notice, they are also complements to each other. So if I wanted to adjust my photo to be a little more cyan, I can be very specific about how I adjust these. I can have a little more green, a little more yellow, and you know, make a photo or fix a photo that maybe has some lighting problems. Of course, you can't fix everything. A good, good photos, probably the most important thing to have to start with. There are a number of other options in here, such as brightness and contrast, and curves that function kind of similarly to levels. I recommend you try them out and see which one will give you the most control over what it is you want to do.